There's a real political cost to this. We've seen Ottawa Police Chief Peter Slowly resign this week, and he's just sort of the latest political casualty in a long list. I suppose we can add Aaron O'Toole to that. Ottawa Mayor Jim Watson is facing a lot of political heat. Am I missing anyone, Nick? It's kind of getting to be a long list.
Well, on our last podcast, we did declare that Aaron O'Toole was the first political casualty, and the ironic twist is that the truckers actually didn't want him to resign. They wanted Justin Trudeau to resign. They want to get rid of him as one of their express objectives in their protest. But what we've seen is now the chief of police of the city of Ottawa as what I'll say officially casualty number 2 this week. You know what, there will be more political casualties as things happen, and there's no sense on how this is going to end, and as a result I think it's risky for everyone. And we must say that for Jim Watson is a long-serving mayor of Ottawa, former provincial cabinet minister, a very successful politician. He's not running for re-election, but I think if he was running for re-election, I'd be a bit worried. But he doesn't have to worry about that right now. He has to focus on his legacy, because I think the last thing Jim Watson would want is to preside as mayor over a very successful period, and then to finish off with the perception that he did not do a good job, probably in the biggest crisis in Ottawa, especially at the municipal level, that we've seen in a generation.
Nick, not on that long list or growing list, I should say, political casualties is Ontario Premier Doug Ford. At least not yet. I mean, he's walked a really fine line, between invoking his own, state of emergency and supporting workers. Which brings us to our provincial check-in. The premiers are really divided on this. So how is Doug Ford looking so far?
I think Doug Ford managed to walk the appropriate line between kind of inflaming things, but still having a hard line against the what he's called the illegal protest and occupation. Especially, he was, the premier was very concerned about the Ambassador Bridge and also the occupation protest in Ottawa. So, on the one hand, he declared a province-wide state of emergency, beefed up the fines and the potential financial fallout from blocking or occupying critical infrastructure in the province. But then, on the other hand, what he did was he also didn't wait to relax some of the restrictions that are at the heart of this particular protest. So, and, he could have been a little more, he could have been, if he had more political pride, he could have kind of delayed things, because he wouldn't want to say that he knuckled under to the truckers. But he basically said straight out that he believed that it was the right thing to do, that despite the presence of the protest, these things were going to happen. So on the one hand, he's talked tough and put extra powers into the hands of police to try to settle this. And then on the other hand, he's actually moved forward to relax things. And I think that's that kind of pragmatic approach is probably the best right now, because the last thing that anybody really wants are dogmatic politicians who are worried about saving face. And what we saw from Doug Ford was, I believe, a pragmatic balance. So I don't think he's a political casualty, and he's not on the radar as a political casualty unless something else new happens.